Got a comment or opinion? Text the Joe Finnegan Show now. 087 1200 900.
Now, currently in Leinster House at the moment, at the start of the day's proceedings in the Dail chamber, members rise to their feet for the Ceann Comhairle's entrance, all rise type thing. It's sort of a Judge Judy type scenario. All rise, and the Ceann Comhairle arrives in, and then they're supposed to remain on their feet. They don't have to at the moment, but that will all change very shortly. And they sort of remain on their feet for the prayer, which is read in both Irish and English. Totally ridiculous. But anyway, who am I to talk? And under changes, which will be approved tomorrow, it will now be compulsory to remain standing. So there's going to be, after tomorrow, when the Dail vote takes place, there's going to be a Dail prayer, a podger in other words, where all members will be expected to stand regardless of their religious beliefs and denominations or what have you. And then they will be expected, this is compulsory now, they will be expected to remain standing for a 30-second moment of silence. That's what they're calling it. And this will now be included in a bid, I suppose, to appease non-religious members. Now, John Hamill, who is from this part of the world, is a spokesperson for Atheist Ireland, and he's with me on the line. Good morning to you.
Morning, Joe. How are you keeping?
I'm good now. Thanks indeed for taking the call. Now, I know your group made a submission to the Oireachtas committee that was discussing these new measures over the last few weeks and months, and you made it quite clear that in your view, or in the view as far as your organisation is concerned, there is no place in the Dáil for any kind of a prayer.
Well, there's no place for the enforcement of the prayers of one denomination on the deputies from all faiths and none. So, if, for example, the Ceann Comhairle wanted to have just the 30 minutes or 30 seconds for reflection, during which either TDs could reflect on their own ethics or morality, or else religious TDs could say their own prayers to their own gods, I think that's absolutely fine. What we object to is the idea that all TDs of all faiths and none should be forced to say the prayer of one particular religious denomination. So, for example...
No, but you're totally against any form of prayer, aren't you, in the Dáil? You feel there's no place for it in the Dáil at all. Regardless of your religious beliefs, prayer, as far as you're concerned, no, not happening in the Dáil, if you have your way.
Well, we believe in the human right to the freedom of religion, so everyone should have the right to practice their own religion in their own way, but they shouldn't be allowed to impose their religion on people who don't follow it.
All right, so now let's just be clear.
Mm-hmm.
When the Dáil is about to sit, and when the Irish Parliament is about to proceed with the business of the day, is there, in your view, any place, any room at all within those proceedings for a prayer?
Well, if it's a private prayer that's said by individual TDs during a silent moment of reflection, then we think that's absolutely fine.
Okay. So you can say a prayer privately?
Yes. The difference is if there's a public prayer that must be recited by the Ceann Comhairle, and it's a prayer to one specific God of one specific religious denomination, in this case the Christian God, essentially what you're saying is the Ceann Comhairle of the country must be a Christian.
And 9 times out of 10, he or she probably is. But then again,
well, yeah, I think that's
who am I to say? I don't know. One way
the argument that's most often made, Joe, which is a majoritarian argument, and the difficulty with that is that the freedom of religion is a human right, and the very purpose of human rights is to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority. And actually, on this island, we should know more than most about the tyranny of the majority.
Right. Now, you
so
lobbied
in the north
hard.
of this island, we had one religious majority who voted repeatedly to subjugate another religious minority. And human rights is aimed at exactly that kind of situation, whereby we can say that the rules are made by majority votes, and that's the way democracy works, and that's fine.
But you've lost on this one.
There's a certain base level of rights, a certain set of human rights that everyone is entitled to, even minorities, and you can't have a majority vote to remove these human rights from minorities. And one of those human rights is the freedom of religion, which also includes the freedom from religion. So you can't have a majority vote to impose your religiosity on other people.
But you've lost. You lobbied hard. You put a lot of pressure, which is your right, on TDs from all sides. But tomorrow, the new procedures will be voted in with the support of both Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. There are many, by the way, in the chamber who are opposed to these new procedures, and many TDs, but in the end, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael rule the roost. And as and from tomorrow, once the vote is taken, all Dáil proceedings will begin with a prayer, followed by a 30-second moment of silence,
well,
which all members will be expected to stand for.
Well, we haven't lost yet. There remains to be seen which way the vote will go. And even if TDs do vote along those lines, I believe Ruth Coppinger and Breed Smith, I think, and some others have said that they will not stand for a Christian prayer because they're not Christians. So then we will have the situation where the Dáil is going to abuse the human rights of non-Christian deputies.
No. Hang on a second now, John. We live in a democracy. If, a vote is taken tomorrow in our national parliament that in future all members must stand for a prayer and a 30-second period of reflection, well, then they must stand, otherwise they will be sanctioned. That's the way we work in this country.
Well done, Joe. That was spoken like Ian Paisley circa 1975.
No, I'm only speaking facts.
And if we vote to impose this religion on everyone, then everyone must adhere to what the democracy says. And the flaw in that argument, Joe, is that this country has signed up to the European Convention on Human Rights, and the very purpose of human rights is that they are a set of inalienable rights that everyone has, even minorities. And a majority vote can't be used to withhold or remove human rights even from minorities.
I'm sorry. Don't shoot the messenger. I've been compared to many, many people and many things down through the years. Ian Paisley, now that's a new one for me. But anyway, I'm only just speaking the facts. I'm only just reminding you of what will prevail once this vote is taken. That's just the way it stands.
I'm reminding you, Joe, of what will happen if the Dáil votes to remove human rights from some deputies and to remove the freedom of religion from some deputies.
I know you are, but at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. I don't make the rules. The TDs make or will make the rules in relation to this.
Well, no, sorry, Joe. Yeah. The TDs don't make all the rules. Yeah. The European Court makes some of the rules, including enforcing the human right to the freedom of religion. So the Dáil does not have the authority to abuse the human rights of individual deputies.
So this could go all the way to the European Court. That's what you're telling me.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that Ireland was brought to the European Court and told that they're abusing the human rights of citizens and that they should stop doing it. So
I know you're here acting as a spokesperson for Atheist Ireland. If it's a case of where these rules, call them whatever you like, are introduced tomorrow with the support of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael coming together, that's it. Therefore, they are now part of the rule book in Leinster House, and you can go nowhere, bar maybe the European Court of Justice or human rights or whatever it may be. So
no, I don't think that's it at all. I mean, you could have taken the same attitude to the National Maternity Hospital to say, well, the minister has made this agreement with the Sisters of Charity, and that's it. At the end of the day, public pressure changes politicians' minds. So in the case that you described, Joe, our campaign will continue, and this is an area where I think the population of the country is far ahead of the politicians. So the religion that some politicians in our country seem to follow at the minute is one whereby it's not just good enough for them to say their own prayers to their own God. They have to make rules that say everyone else has to say the same prayers to the same God. And I don't think even the majority of Roman Catholics in Ireland believe that that is part of their Catholicism. I don't believe the majority of Roman Catholics in Ireland need rules to insist that everyone else must say the same prayer to the same God. At the end of the day, wasn't it Jesus who said, he told the disciples to go off and try and convert some people, and if they don't want to listen, just brush the sand off your feet and leave them alone. There's some politicians that don't like to hear that, and there's some politicians that like to impose their prayers on everyone else. But just like it looks like the force of public opinion has changed the minister's mind on donating the hospital to the Sisters of Charity, I think that even if this is voted through by the Dail, the idea of ejecting non-Catholic TDs because they won't say the same prayer as the Ceann Comhairle, I don't think that the population of Ireland
will stand for that. All right, let's see what happens. John Hamill, thank you indeed for taking our call. News is next.